Triple M Grill Team.
A lot going on in football at the moment. Of course, we've got our main man, Mark Bosnich, in the house. Boz, how are you, mate?
Good morning, all. Good morning, MG. Good morning,
Boz.
Gus. Matty.
Boz.
Now, a couple
How
of
you
things
going,
before I
brother?
start. You look fantastic, mate.
Thank
Gus,
you, Boz.
on the training. And
Thank
Matty,
you.
just got the ratings again last night. Your show is absolutely buzzing on a Monday night. Congratulations. And MG,
thank you.
Forget about the 22 songs, mate. Those 22 exercises at 9:30.
Now, Boz, before we get to the Champions League in Asia and all stuff
Yes.
that's happening here, what about Manchester United?
Yep.
Moyes overnight, if you haven't heard, has been sacked after 10 months in the job, signed a big deal, a 6-year deal, but he's gone. Who's going to replace him, and was that a good call by Man U to get rid of their manager?
First and foremost, I don't think Manchester United had any other choice. Remember, Manchester United are owned by the Glazers, who've taken out a lot of money and a lot of debt. They need to service that debt by paying interest, and to do that, you need to have a team that's been successful. And they've also earmarked a lot of money for the summer for it'll be the new manager now to spend.
They're
And
talking
I
150
think,
million or something?
that's what they're talking. But I think they've just looked at the situation and think we don't think that we trust this man to spend that money.
Incredible, Boz. I mean, I often talk about in our sport, New Zealand Warriors are untrustworthy, whether selecting a new manager or a coach in our position. Man United, one of the biggest sporting sides in the world, allow a former coach to be Machiavellian and appoint a fellow that everyone that all and sundry straight away knew was going to fail. There was no doubt from the moment he got the job, David Moyes, that it wasn't going to work.
Well, I tend to agree with you, man. I've heard you say that before, and you're exactly right. Sir Alex Ferguson being allowed to appoint, I think, is a great example to any sporting team or franchise around the world. You don't let your ex-coach appoint the new coach. He appointed David Moyes, and in my opinion, he appointed David Moyes because he knew David Moyes, as good a coach as that he could be, would take a lot of time to get up to speed of what it is to deal with Manchester United. And in that time, Sir Alex's memory and so forth would sort of live on. A lot more people would be going, oh, we miss Sir Alex Ferguson. Whereas if you're going for a Mourinho, if you're going for an Ancelotti, someone like that, his memory would have eroded much quicker. And I think now the Glazers and the people, the powers that be at the club will realise that responsibility needs to be taken away from Sir Alex, and they need to appoint somebody big because, you know, it happened easily, Gus, with your Liverpool. You know, the 70s and 80s, one of the most dominant forces, not only in England, but in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, we all remember that. They even
Kenny
Dalglish
Dalglish
era,
yeah.
right? And 20 years without a title.
24.
So they and the Glaziers can't afford that because they've got to service that debt. The debt is 370 odd million pounds. Right, they need to keep paying interest every year on that debt, and that means getting into the Champions League. They don't look as though on the weekend, if you watch them against Everton,
Man, they're shocking.
they don't look as though they're going to go anywhere.
And Bozza, and the thing about it is they've got worldwide partners as far as their sponsors are concerned, and they've missed out in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I mean, that's devastating.
Devastating. And if they miss out in the Europa League, that's even worse. That is a disaster. And I think people are getting to the point where they're like, if you could see, you could say, like, okay, they've had this season, Sir Alex is gone, they're in transition, it's an aging team, and you can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I think people are like, okay. But they haven't only just regressed. Looking at them, it's like
They were champions last year, easily.
Yeah, the only time,
Same players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, even in their dark days in the 80s and so forth, that's what they look like. Put it that way.
There's a couple
At that time.
of parallels, isn't there, between the two Manchester towns? I mean, wasn't there a year before that Man City did the same with their boss after 12 months of winning the comp?
Yep.
And now Man U have done it.
Mancini.
For all intents and purposes, they say that Boyes is not a bad bloke.
A very good bloke, MG. He's a very good bloke. Came up the hard way. It's funny enough, Sir Alex Ferguson wanted him originally as his assistant way back in 1999. He ended up plummeting for plumbing. Sorry, I got in trouble.
Plumbing.
They were saying plumbing.
Plummeting.
Yeah, there you go, everyone who heard that. He ended
right
up
one
plumbing for Steve McLaren.
right.
But I look, he had an aging squad. Fergie would have known that. Obviously, massive boots to fill to step into, and he did make a few mistakes that he will have to take account for. Getting rid of Fergie's backroom staff.
Yep.
But can you imagine being in David Moyes' shoes? Would you keep them on? And thinking they'll be going back to Sir Alex Ferguson. Do you want to have it?
He wanted his own people.
You want
didn't
your
he?
own people
Yeah.
around you.
And there's no
falling
doubt, managing Everton and then managing
a big
Manchester
step.
United.
It's a
It
huge
is
step.
just it's like
It is.
managing a different sport,
Yeah.
given the pressure.
And not only that as well, Matty, MG, you both know, if you lose the support of your senior players in the dressing room,
You've
what
lost
happens?
the game.
it's over.
It's over.
The Triple M Grill Team.
Can we talk about the Champions League in Asia, please, mate? Because
Yes.
last night the Wanderers were awesome at Pertex Stadium.
Fantastic.
Scored. I switched it on with 10 to go. It was 1-0. It was 5-0 about 10
Yeah.
minutes later.
Wow.
Biggest win ever by any of our A-League teams in the Asian Champions League.
unreal.
Fantastic.
Let's put them to bed for a moment because they've done a brilliant job.
Yes.
What about the Mariners? Have to go to Japan,
Yeah.
play in Japan, and then play Saturday night. Are the FFA mad?
mad?
I think they. I wouldn't say that they're mad, but I think they're being really ridiculous about this. I've obviously spoke to them and pleaded with them, and their excuse is that they've already changed it once from Friday because of the semi-final.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, but
last night.
they don't get back until Friday morning. I just think they would get so much kudos from everyone, regardless of football fans, fair, but just to say, look,
Would
listen,
the Wanderers mind, do you think?
of course they wouldn't, because they're in the same situation, Gus. There may come a time, they're in the last 16 now, so there may come a time in the future they need a favour.
Because what
so
happened-
they'd be silly. What about the players, this is player safety now. What
Yeah,
about
sure
if
it
they come,
is.
what about if half the team get injured when they're playing in the game because they've just got off a plane Friday morning from Japan, and they've got to play again against Central Coast on the weekend? You are really loading the dice against Central Coast Mariners.
You are.
And I think it's really unfair.
But you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It opens up a can of whoop ass as far as scrutiny goes.
It does.
For people who aren't avid followers of soccer or football in this
Yes.
company, they go, well, how can they possibly go over there, come back and play a major semi-final a day apart? That
Yep.
just doesn't happen in any other sport.
And not only that as well, for me, a lot of people complain the way Central Coast Mariners played the last couple of weeks. They played real counter-attacking style. But if you're that tired,
Oh.
it makes sense. So for
Sure
me,
it
it
does.
devalues the product a little bit when you do that to a team. Now, a lot of people
Why not
turn
Sunday,
around and
Bosnich?
say-
Why not Sunday?
I've been personally told that they've already moved it once. They're not going to move it again. And look, I just don't think that's a good enough excuse. I think it'd be easy to have a double header on Sunday.
Right.
Well,
All right,
the
Brisbane play
Foxtel would love that.
Yeah,
wouldn't
Brisbane
it? Fox
play.
Sports.
Brisbane play against Melbourne Victory.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they couldn't have it after or before, and it would be, and they would get so much kudos from everyone, and not only that, like MG said as well, you would avoid any type of perception from people out the outside saying, why are they doing that to them? Don't they want them in the grand final?
Yeah.
That's right.
I
That's,
tell you,
that's
so
a
many
good
people
one.
are focused on it too now, Matty. I mean, people have got an interest now in the A-League. It really has taken off. So
it's
why
great,
wouldn't you, in your glamour games, give every opportunity for it to be something that people want to watch again?
Wouldn't it be a great thing for if you look, either make it the MCG or ANZ Stadium to have these two big semi-finals games as a double header on a Sunday afternoon?
Oh.
Yes.
It'd be absolutely
80,000.
It'd
Well,
be enormous.
Yeah, we saw it. I totally agree. From any perspective, I even think from a TV perspective, Matty, we both work for Fox. To have a game one after the other, especially big semi-finals, I couldn't
be
see there being a
huge.
problem.
It'd
Just
be
quickly
huge.
before you go, Bozza, Liverpool's to lose in the EPL. Can you
Yes.
see them? Can you see them winning it?
Does
Does it matter what happens against Chelsea on the weekend?
It does, because Manchester City won the other night, so, and we know how huge it's been. And this is very difficult for me as an ex-Man United and Chelsea player to say, but I really do hope they win it.
So do I.
think the way that they've played this season has been a real credit, especially it's the 25th anniversary
Oh, how
of the
big-
25th year.
wasn't
of
that
the
emotional?
disaster.
And Swartzer might be
And
in goal
Swartzer
for
came on
Chelsea.
this morning for Petr Cech, who got injured after 18 minutes, so in the European Champions League semi-final. So he will have a good chance of playing this week at Anfield. That'll be on Fox Sports 2 Sunday night. I know you'll be watching it, Gus, as I read your tweets.
I'm very pumped.
MG, Matty, I know you used to be in bed because you get up very early.
Yeah.
No, mate. That's
Thanks
all
for
right.
coming
Now,
in,
listen,
Boz,
before you go, Boss,
Yes.
we've got something for you.
Recently, we found out that if you can take anyone's voice, Boz,
Yeah,
no matter how
yes.
intelligent they are and
Okay.
clever and eloquent they are, if you slow it down, they sound stoned.
Yes.
So we did it with Matty Johns.
For the next 10 rounds, which we'll review it after that, a family pass to go to the football is going to be $40 for a family pass.
And now,
No, you mix up. That's the one where I was stoned.
Sorry.
was,
No, I reckon you just done it on purpose. Just
well,
like,
for a
yeah.
moment here, just picture, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mark Bosnich with a doobie.
Yes.
And have a listen to this.
The other morning against Ecuador, the first half was as refreshing a first half as I've seen from the Socceroos in a very long time. But the second half, we conceded 4 goals, and it wasn't nice to watch. And ideally hope, I really want them to prove me wrong, but ideally hope that second half is not a snapshot of what's going to happen in the World Cup.
Actually, you sound a bit like Ned Zellich.
Are you sure that wasn't after a Saturday night out?
I can imagine you talk a little faster.
The Triple M Grill Team.